The size of your problem is an indication of the size of your future. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard if he didn't know something amazing was in front of you. Don't be discouraged because you have big challenges. Have a new perspective. That means God has something big in your future. Big breakthroughs, big opportunities, big victories. If you could see the promotion on the other side of those problems, if you could see the healing, the favor, the fulfillment, you wouldn't be discouraged. You'd go through that difficulty in faith, praising when you could be complaining, thanking God that He's fighting your battles, knowing that it's all a setup for a new level of your destiny.
Every storm that ever hit the planet came, no matter how fierce, no matter how devastating, no matter how many homes were destroyed, they always come. And no matter how severe, no matter how terrible, no matter how many lives were lost, families were lost, it still comes to pass. How many times in your life have you gone through something you thought you wasn't going to make it? Where are my real people at this morning? I'm never going to make it out of this. This is too much. I can't handle it. I can't take it. And half of the stuff that broke my heart and almost drove me crazy, I can't even remember. It's in my rear view mirror. But in that moment when that storm hits, can I be steady in the storm? I've had some tough storms. And I learned that what I have to do is be steady in the storms. Can I talk to you this morning? Stop wishing for other people's stuff because you don't understand all the things they have to put into it to be ready to handle it. If your perspective doesn't change, you will misunderstand that God allowed the storm to give you an experience that nobody else ever got to have. You want an uncanny anointing? Go through an uncanny storm. You want an uncanny influence? Endure an uncanny storm. You don't get this by wishing for it. You get it after you've suffered a while. There are no shortcuts to the storm. Oh, do you hear what I'm talking to you about? And this is not a time to faint. And this is not a time to give up. And this is not a time to die.
No matter what happens to you, it ain't over.
The only one that can stop you is you. If you let your mistakes define you, if you wear labels that people stick on you, that will keep you from your destiny. And when someone keeps bringing up your past mistakes, trying to get you to live condemned, you can't stop them from putting labels on you, but you can take them right off. My mistakes are behind me. My failures are in my yesterday. And you know what? I'm not bringing them into today.
Leave the past and move forward. You're going to have to put that where it belongs. You know, we all have a past, but we don't need to live there anymore.
When people can walk away from you, let them walk. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. I don't want you to try to talk another person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring about you, coming to see you, staying attached to you. I mean, hang up the phone. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. Because your destiny is not tied to the person who left.
I just want to tell you, don't let this chapter that you're going through make you in your story. Don't let depression lie to you and tell you that you're not enough, that tells you that there's no more better days, that tells you that your best days are behind you, that tells you you're a nobody, that tells you that you're better off dead. Don't let it lie to you because it's been lying to you so long that you're starting to believe that's true. You're starting to live that out.
Bad decisions, hasty decisions, too fast. And affects the next 20 years of your life because you made the wrong decision. If you'd have just waited, got all your information together, settled yourself, you'd have been better. What makes us make these fast decisions? Fear?
It takes discipline to face your fears so you can conquer them. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. So, learn and move on.
And they just kind of hope that if they're at the right place at the right time, something wonderful will happen to them. Everything worthwhile is uphill. All the way. All the way. Not partially uphill. And the challenge that we all have is we don't mind climbing uphill for 3 or 4 days. As long as we can coast for a couple.
Most of us who are human have to deal with regret from time to time. I'm sure you can agree. Maybe regret because of a poor decision we made. You know, things that I wish I had done differently in my life or in my ministry.
Of course, who wouldn't want to take another go at something and improve on the first try by doing it again? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No, let it teach you. Let it make you better.
Stuck in there as a firm belief. That's why we have to guard our beliefs so preciously, because our mind goes to work on finding these legs, these references, which are real experiences in our life, to prove to us that that belief is true. And so although you may believe it to be true about you, these doubts and negative thoughts you have, these were not your original thoughts.
The regret we feel for things that we've done, though intense, only lasts a short period of time. But the regret that we feel for things that we missed out on, that can extend throughout a lifetime. Because most of us are scared. And we choose to lead an easy life. We choose to take the safe path. And by doing so, we start to rack up those regrets. But there is a solution. You have to be willing to be bold.
Of all the subjects we've covered so far and are about to cover, none is more important than covering the disciplines for success. What's at the core of achieving the good life? The major key to the good life. The major key is not in learning how to set goals. It is not in learning how to better manage your time. It is not in mastering the attributes of leadership. Every day in 1,000 different ways, we are trying to improve ourselves by learning how to do things. But for this whole process to work for us, we must first master the art of discipline, self-discipline, consistent self-discipline. It takes consistent self-discipline to master the art of setting goals, to master the art of time management, to master the art of leadership, to master the art of parenting and relationships. If we don't make consistent self-discipline part of our daily lives, the results we seek will be sporadic and elusive. It takes a consistent effort to truly manage our valuable time, or we'll be consistently frustrated. Our time will be eaten up by others whose demands are stronger than our own.
We all have weakness. We all have gaps. We all have issues. We all have struggles. And the first step to working your weakness is admitting your weakness. How many know denial is dangerous? Just because you ignore it doesn't mean it's going to go away. But many times we conceal things and we cover things up because we're concerned that if we'll expose it, we're going to be embarrassed. Have you ever felt exposed before?
So if you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it, start doing research on it, start tackling it, start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking so that you can begin to learn all you can about it. Decide that you're going to face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training that's required, that you're going to go get that training. George Washington Carver would say, do what you can, where you are with what you have, and never be satisfied. S.B. Fuller used to say, and you heard Joe Dudley talk about, always strive to be more than that which you are. Yeah, don't get satisfied with yourself. Always know that wherever you are, you can enjoy more, that you deserve more. Why you can't begin to live life on your terms. Always something there to block you, to keep you where you are, and keep you from beginning to develop your true greatness. Always some fear. How do we handle it? If you've been using the fact that you don't have enough money or you don't have the education, take it head on. Go get the education.
But look at what they've done to you. They've made you an employee. And they told you where you can be employed and where you cannot be employed. And then they restrict how far you can rise in that employment.
Living my life on my terms. That's important. Not to give up on your dream, not to give up on yourself. Now, are there going to be some moments when you want to give up? Yes. Will there be some moments when it's going to seem like it's impossible? The disappointment that you're experiencing, that you're going to say, it's not worth it? Yes, that's going to be right there for you. It's going to be in your face.
When you start grinding, when you start waking up early, when you start keeping your word to yourself, to your boss, when you go into 120, when you all in by any means necessary, you start seeing stuff and you start experiencing stuff and you start having stuff that people who are not doing that, they never get.
And I promise you, when I go out, I will be the best version of me. When I go out with my son, with my daughter, and with my wife saying, our husband gave 120%.
And until your thinking change, you are contaminated leadership. I've never heard such a level of teaching on leadership. Why? Because unless your mind changes, you will never become a leader. Attitude determines your limitation, which means that your belief system determines how far you go. You can never lead beyond your attitude and your belief system. And that's why your life is what you think it should be and exactly what it is. Attitude is the manifestation of your personal philosophy.
So you've got to decide, wait. Even if things don't work out, even if I experience defeat or failure, that does not make me a failure. It's a difference between failing and being a failure. If things don't work out, if you don't produce the results you want, that's all. But don't confuse who you are with the results that you produce.
Be transformed by changing the way you think, because my thoughts control my life. Your feelings don't shape your life. Your beliefs do. And it doesn't even have to be true. If you believe it, it's going to shape your life. And a lot of you were taught things as a kid about you that just weren't true. And years later, you're still acting on false information.
The process of building self-confidence is actually very easy, believe it or not. Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself, that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. Build your self-confidence, and the greater and greater your self-confidence it minimizes the impact self-doubt has on us. It's important because you have to understand one thing about the doubts and the negative thoughts you have about yourself. These are not your thoughts. You weren't born doubting. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born thinking negative things about yourself.
True leadership is self-discovery. True leadership begins with an individual discovering something about themselves. That's when it really begins. And you will never become a true leader until you are introduced to yourself.
Don't do that. Be quiet. Sit down. Be a good boy. Be a good girl. Maybe it was criticism you received as a little one that you may not even remember to this day. Those were thoughts that were placed in you and given to you by an external source at some time in your life. It could even be our parents. It could have been a school teacher. It could have been ridicule at school from other children. But when you were young in your formative years, these negative thoughts about yourself were planted in you by an external source. When I meet someone who's not self-confident, I know this is someone who has consistently made promises to themselves they've not kept. They've started a diet and done it for a while, but not kept it. And so they have a process and a habit in their life, more often than not, of not keeping the promises they don't make to other people. They don't keep the promises they make to themselves.
It's impossible for you to have continuous success without having self-discipline. Impossible. And my greatest challenge as a leader is your greatest challenge as a leader. And that is, every day, keeping people climbing. Because they don't want to climb. They want to coast to success.
Let's take a few minutes to talk about the importance of knowing yourself enough to be your best cheerleader. The times you thought you had it all laid out and it just didn't work. The times when you burned the midnight oil day after day and it didn't seem to help. These are the times that you have to rely on your own self-encouragement. Take responsibility for the missed opportunity or the misrepresentation. Be prepared for the letdowns that happen every so often. Know that this lost opportunity just sets you up better for the next one. Study your mistakes and learn from them. Don't dwell on the mistakes. Learn from them. Encourage yourself that you're smarter than your bank account leads you to believe. Remind yourself that you're bound to get better. Don't get down on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You can do it better next time. You just have to practice. Keep trying. Keep trying until you've got it down. If you figured out what it was in your presentation that didn't work, don't say that next time. Don't beat yourself for messing up. Pat yourself on the back for figuring it out. You need to pump yourself up. You need to be your own cheerleader, because you can't wait and hope that someone else will come along and cheer you up. Tell you that you'll do better next time. You have to rely on yourself. You have to have the inner belief that everything you're doing for a positive outcome in the future. Encourage yourself with your goals, your dreams, your ambition. Knowing that you've got a plan. Knowing that you're going to do it until. There's an old cowboy saying, fall off a horse 7 times, and you're a real cowboy. If you fall off track, get right back on. If you fall out of habit, get back into the habit. If you fall off the horse, get back on. It may be hard, it may be a bit frightening, but get back on. We must all suffer one of 2 pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. It's much easier to be disciplined and have the money than to try to rationalize why you don't. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. Develop yourself to the point that you can truly and totally rely on yourself. Too much of anything is a bad thing. Life without balance results in an unbalanced life. Eating an apple a day is good. Eating only apples is bad. Working hard, burning the midnight oil, doing it until is good. Working nonstop, never spending quality time with the people you love, never taking a break year after year is bad. It doesn't work that way. You've got to stop and ponder where you've been and where you're going. After all, if you're always working, you must be successful. No, it doesn't work that way. For workaholics, there's never enough work. The only satisfaction is fighting off sleep, denying life's pleasures, getting more tasks done. These people are generally more task-oriented than results-oriented. They're busy being busy. Now, wouldn't you prefer a life of productivity rather than a life of tasks? When you schedule your time and take advantage of your time, you can work smarter instead of working longer, and still have time for other things in life. I will look for new ways to work smarter by focusing on doing more per hour instead of doing more hours. Too much of anything, even good things, will sooner or later throw you off track. Ambitious people don't see each step toward their goals as a singular step. With everything they do and with every discipline they adhere to, they see it all as part of a chain. Every action and every discipline today is a link in the chain. Every action and every discipline tomorrow is a link. When you can see that every link in the chain will eventually lead you to the things you want most out of life, then you won't grow discouraged or fearful or impatient with today. Part of this visual chain thinking is built when you decide on your direction, when you can see where you're going to end up before you get there. Your plans and goals are your visual chain, knowing where you're going before you get there. Not one professional team in the world begins a game without a complete strategy. But few of us take the time to map out a strategy for our lives. Here's the first rule for your game plan of life. Don't start your day until you have it finished. Don't start your day until you have it planned, and do this every day. Once you've mastered the art of planning your day, you're ready for the next level. Don't start your week until you have it finished. Just imagine what life would be like if you took time out of every Sunday to plan your week. Come Friday, you won't be saying, boy, did this week fly by. No, if you plan your week before you start it, you'll know exactly what you want to do, what you need to work on. Your days will be better, more effective. You'll be working smarter, not harder. It takes great discipline on your part, but it will soon lead to a new habit, a habit of mastering your time. If you're doing all that you're scheduled to...
My pocket nothing in the banks and trying to explain why I wasn't doing well living in America. 25 years old American male, got family, every reasons to do well now. Once I understood this, here's the formula for failures in judgments, being lax about developing your own personal philosophy, telling you it's called accumulated disease. Whatever is your health or your bank's account cannot, an empty bank's account probably has high seal. Why over 6 years he never paid attention to others once, and it doesn't matter whether it's a dollar, whether it's your money, or whether it's your lost strolls, counts. All you got to do is commit the errors.